Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me here again, and quite a lot to break down. The only South African team's URC game that was played this weekend was between the Lions and the Sharks, and there's a lot to break down. So I'm going to try and get into that as quick as possible and just work through it. But I also want to take some time to cover a little bit about the England versus Ireland game. So there's a lot to break down. So it's just jump straight into it. Let's talk rugby. So we're starting off with the only URC game for the South African teams that was played this weekend. Lions versus Sharks facing off in a massive local derby here as well at Ellis Park in Johannesburg. It was just, a massive game. Quite scrappy at first, but very intense. Extremely intense game. It was a absolute tooth and nail battle for dominance right off the starting blocks. Chris Smith slotting two penalty goals for the Lions right at the beginning of the game. His first penalty goal was shortly followed up by a really well-planned try for Fez Mbata, making his first try for the season, and it just putting the Sharks at 7-3 lead early on in the match. But that was kind of shortly lived, unfortunately. As the Lions just came back with a bit of a vengeance there. It was, like I said, a massive fight for dominance, as the Sharks really just became their own worst enemy through ball handling errors, poor discipline. The only thing really going for them in this match was the set plays. Losing one line out wasn't quite exactly what they wanted. Skew throw in, as the Lions didn't contest in the jumping for that line, but their scrums was really well oiled, a really powerful set play for them there, winning quite a few penalties off of the scrum. The Sharks did control territory well though within the first half, although it was the Lions that kept wrestling dominance away from them. Every time they make for a very powerful either line break or attack movement, the Lions would their defense would prove too much, and the Sharks would either lose the ball in contact or knock the ball on, or it would be from some ball handling error that they would just lose possession, and the Lions would just counter attack in one heck of a fight. Just ending up in the Lions dominating the territory towards the end of the second half, and of course on the point try to translate it to the scoreboard as well, with a 20-10 lead as they go into half time. That, like I said, the dominance also not what it should be. Jaden Hendricks is suffering a yellow card sort of towards the middle of the first half from a cynical infringement, going down, contesting the ball as the ruck has already been formed. So there was a tackle made, clear separation from him with the tackle, but now in the time he was a bit slow to go down and contest the ball, as then the Lions player comes in, binds already in the ruck, and then he goes over the Lions player to contest the ball at the bottom, causing the ball to go dead. Now that in itself is a penalty worthy infringement. The fact that it was off a line break for the Lions kind of translated into a cynical penalty for the referee, which then saw Jaden Hendricks going off for 10 minutes into the sin bin. That was also again followed up by some really bad discipline by the Lions. Bronson Mills going into the sin bin for 10 minutes, narrowly escaping a referred red card, as it was not upgraded, kept at the yellow card, as there was some mitigating circumstances. Bronson Mills obviously being upright within a tackle, making head contact with the ball carrier. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Apelele Fassi. He also, it was head-on-head contact, so Bronson Moles walked off there with a bit of a shiner as a memento for that moment, making sort of close contact with Apelele Fassi there. Just sort of a love tap on the cheek. And yeah, and that was also followed up by a yellow card against, I think it was Marais, also for an upright tackle against Vincent Tichuca. Now, the mitigation there, however, was that there was a change of height within Vincent Tichuca due to two players basically going in for the tackle. He was already being tackled by Venter, I believe, Ruan Venter, and therefore that kind of, they didn't hit with full force, so it's not that high degree of danger. So, although still very, very clearly foul play, it's just stayed a yellow card, and luckily escaping the 20-minute red there for himself as well. Like I said, very physical game. Ruan Venter having to go off in the first half for a head injury assessment. Bringing for at least staying off for quite a while. Bringing in some changes for the line side there, and then also the Siamasuku being honoured for his 100th test cap, with this really physical match and really entertaining game of rugby. If you can get to see the full game, I really would, if you've recorded on DSTV or one of those channels, ESPN, I would really recommend you go and watch it. It was scrappy, like I said, in the first half, and a lot of errors made, a lot of discipline issues, but it was very physical, a lot of dominance, a lot of brutality, especially within the front rows, especially the Lions going down and fighting for every single inch and every single try that they made. Tlamakanye scoring his 5th try for his career within this game off phase play right on the try line for the Sharks. For him also to make a powerful drive over the try line and get his 5th try in there was also a feather in his cap. Coming into the second half, the newcomer Siba Mahashe scoring his first try for the Lions as well as a debutant. Also off a very fantastic drive, pick and drive for himself, making a bit of a dummy to create a gap for himself. That was then followed up by also very, very powerful pick and drive by Tino Mavesere, making his debut try within this campaign. And it was really, just also fantastic to watch. That, of course, was also then followed up by a massive pick and drive by Ruan Venter himself, scoring his for himself, I think also his 5th career try for the at this time around. But also the game, I have to say though, within the scrums, the game was plagued by a really extremely soft pitch. I mean, you had massive, most of the time, these officials coming on stomping like huge patches of grass back into the pitch. As obviously, there's been a lot of rain in Johannesburg over the summer season, being a summer rainfall area. That's nothing funny or strange for this time of year, but it just made for really interesting scrummaging within the pitch. Scrums collapsing the whole time. I think the referee Colby basically just called for a movement of the scrum at one point within the second half, where they just, most of the pitch was so stepped out or trampled out that they had to just move. I mean, these players were losing their footing, just going down into the scrum. So that was also causing a bit of a challenge for the players on the field there. But I must say the Sharks did manage to control that pretty well for themselves, winning most of their scrummaging penalties. Yeah, I have to, obviously you can't talk about this game and not talk about the massive foot race between Jaco Williams and the the veteran Angelo Davids. I mean, this is probably one of the biggest feathers in Jacko Williams's the newcomer Jacko Williams's cap, as he outpaced. Not exactly outpaced, but match Angelo David stride for stride in this massive chase towards the Sharks goal line off a grubber kick. And it was massive. Luckily for him, Angelo Davids missed the grounding off the ball, knocking it forward within goal, which resulted in a 5-meter scrum. So really lucky over there. Gerenjo Julius, unfortunately missing here a massive 70-meter dash try. Again, because of the discipline issues within the Sharks. And this is something that JB Peterson is going to have to seriously address, because now that he's accepted the full-time position of head coach for the Sharks, these are the kind of teething marks they're going to have to sort out. They've done brilliantly well these last 2 weeks, with JP Peterson still being the interim coach, and there's now been a review of his performance, or the Sharks' performance, these last couple of weeks, which secured him the permanent position of head coach after the untimely exit of Plumtree, for the Sharks, going back to New Zealand, coaching some of the local teams there. I believe it's Waikato. Might be wrong on that one, but that's going to be now getting the benefit of his massive experience as a head coach there. But Gerenzo Julius try being denied, unfortunately, and this was a massive try. I wish I could actually put this, if that try stood, that probably would have been my try of the week for this week. But it's unfortunately due to a intentional obstruction caused by Mavesere. As Jordan Hendricks has started the attack move, he ducked in behind Mavesere, intentionally shifting his weight towards Chris Smith, blocking his possible tackle on Jordan Hendricks there. Very well caught by the TMO there at the time, which then unfortunately denied the try there for Gerenzo Julius. But as a consolation, Gerenzo did manage to get a fantastic line break into a try off of the fantastic, I think it was by Ross Brode, getting a fantastic try in there for himself. All in all, a brilliant game, but they can really work on the discipline issues on both sides. Like I said, 2 yellow cards suffered by the Lions, 1 by the Sharks. And then just constant ball handling errors, the unforced errors on the Sharks side that really put themselves on the back foot for most part in the first half, that saw them, getting the massive deficit on the scoreboard quite early on. Like I said, going into halftime with a 20-10 point deficit, or 10-point deficit, 2010 score line, and then finishing off the game with a 34-22 final score for the Lions there. Seeing them basically going up on the point scoreboard for the Shield trophy, for the South African Shield trophy within the URC. And I think the rankings is lying now basically Sharks at the top with 16 points. Lions sort of coming in at second with 15 points. The Storm is currently lying third with 9 points, and then the Bulls lying right at the bottom, I think, with 5 points. So still a few games to go, but that is how it is at the moment. If the Sharks can maintain their lead, they can be walking away with a Shield trophy in end of this sort of local derby season. But that remains to be seen. Ireland versus England, and I honestly don't know what the hell happened there. But I kind of think England was his own kind of worst enemy in this one. Pretty much the same as they were in the Scotland game. But let's break it down here. We can't talk about this match and not talk about this absolute beautiful outpacing of Marcus Smith by Stuart McCloskey. It was amazing. Marcus Smith makes a beautiful blind break from an interception and makes a beeline for the Irish try line. It's just, McCloskey was like a freight train out of the starting blocks. I mean, this guy wasn't slowing down for anyone. Eventually catching up to Marcus Smith. Marcus Smith making a desperate attempt. I don't know why he actually just sort of hit the brakes at the one point, but McCloskey kind of, overpowered him. No way that Marcus could actually pass the ball to. No support in his ranks, and he goes over the touchline. It's just, wow. I cannot imagine. I mean, like, this was just, textbook stuff from Ireland. And then, just so many opportunities creating on the English side, preparing massive attack positions and just flopping down like a flan in a cupboard, at the most crucial of moments. They cannot carry it through. They lose the ball in contact, or, some unforced handling error happens, and it's just opportunity lost. Like we see this happening to the Sharks last weekend as well. Massive attack movements happening. Also with the Stormers games in previous weeks, where we see them, launching a massive attacks opportunities just to absolutely have it flop right at the end after so many passing opportunities and phases that they're going through. Just cannot seem to carry it through and have that change on the scoreboard happening. It almost seems like, at some, different points, like England didn't know what to do. The Irish defensive strategy was just so on point. They would always have more than 3 or 4 Irish defenders around every single one of the English ball carriers for some reason. England also just didn't keep Ireland guessing. They just went for straightforward rugby principles. And it was just as if let's just let the ball go down the line. I mean, it was just so easy for Ireland to read the English attacking positions that they could easily shift from one attacker to the other attacker, and eventually having 2 or 3 defenders around every single Englishman carrying the ball, while themselves, just making absolute strategic line breaks. Fantastic attack movements by themselves, keeping the English side guessing the whole time as to where the ball is going to be ending up. For some reason, England defenders shifting from crucial attackers and not actually just reading the field at all. England also still not making crucial decisions, strategic decisions. George Ford only kicking the ball about 6 times in this entire game. Okay, sure, the Irish team did handle the high ball pretty well, like they always do. But not seeing the empty spaces behind their lines and making the essential up and overs to try and create some momentum for your team, and also seeking out those crucial territorial gains in the kicking strategy is just... It just speaks to a very bad and poor decision making on the English side, like we saw last week as well against Scotland. So they really, there's some overall that needs to happen here, and I don't know exactly what's going to happen. The England coach is really going to need to spend some time, get them to focus a bit more, because Ireland's focus was absolutely surgical for this weekend. It was a brilliant game. It's just absolute top shelf rugby to watch. This, absolutely massive entertainment rugby there. And like I said, Ireland always having several defenders on every single one of the English ball carriers, like they're shifting from attacker to attacker in constant, movement down the back line, which just makes, for absolute effective defense on the Irish side. Tadhg Beirne himself making a brilliant turnover ball right on his own try line. A few turnovers also by Balakoon, just on essential and critical moments of the game. Just absolutely just evidence and testimony of the Irish tenacity especially in this, crucial part of the Six Nations, going, in the third round, going into the fourth round now, coming this weekend. Yeah, and just as another testimony, you see this massive territorial kick by Prendergast, I think it was, on the receiving end. I think was Marcus Smith. First receiver of the ball, immediately he has about 5 Irish defenders around him, just totally shutting him down. Balagoon making a crucial turnover right there, or winning a crucial turnover right there for Ireland. And now again, England on the back foot, right on their own try line with a penalty against them. It was just, wow, just brilliant. Absolute brilliant strategic rugby by Ireland. I hope to see a lot more of that in the coming weeks with the Six Nations, as it's really heating up now, going from from round to round, and it just I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. Over and above this absolute brilliant strategic playing, is the absolute fantastic ball handling by Ireland as well, making line break upon line break upon line break. It's like one of these homeless people that hasn't eaten for weeks, and it's just absolutely devouring the empty spaces around the English players. It's like they're just so hungry to spot the empty gaps, and then taking full advantage of of those opportunities, creating try scoring upon try scoring upon try scoring opportunities here. Also, again, from the confusion from the English side, constantly going for tackling players off the ball on the Irish side, and then creating that empty space for Tyke Byrne and Dan Sheehan to just motor through, and creating those absolute brilliant try scoring opportunities for them themselves. At halftime, we were already seeing the massive point deficit between Ireland and England, 27 going into halftime, and then and second half, it just absolutely, the brutality continues. It's Ireland surgically dissecting the English side to the point where they just didn't have any answers at all. It was brutal to watch, honestly, as England, desperately scrambling for any semblance of structure and uniform play, and it just absolutely crumbled and totally disintegrate under the pressure from Ireland. Final score 42-21 for the Irish, and England just totally destroyed, absolutely humiliated on their home field of Twickenham. And it just, wow, you come out of that match kind of feeling sorry for England. Not sorry really, because I think a little bit of the British kind of arrogance is part of their downfall here. The same kind of arrogance as we saw probably within the 2019 World Cup, where they just totally went into the final thinking the game's won, and they just got to show up for the final, and they're going home with the Webb Ellis Cup. And lo and behold, they didn't. Springboks really, giving us an upset performance there in that game. But England really going to need to pull up the socks, start thinking strategically, start thinking a bit more tactics focused on their game plan. And I don't know how the head coach is going to really sort out the problems here for his team, but he's going to need to do something, and he's going to need to do something quick. Otherwise, England is going to see the butt end of the Six Nations at the end of it. So I suppose we can all sort of hold thumbs for England to see if there's going to be any improvement, but you're going to need to work hard and need to put in the effort really there. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Very short video this time around, I believe. Just the two matches that I'm basically just having a look at. And this coming weekend, I believe we are seeing a return for most of the South African derbies in the URC again. Sharks going up against the Bulls, and then of course the Stormers facing off against the Lions. Now, as the Lions have been performing the last couple of weeks, the Storm is going to have a tough match ahead of them, and the same for the Sharks. If the Bulls are going to be performing anything like the Lions did this past weekend, the Sharks are really going to have their work cut out for them. But I have to admit, though, that the conspicuous absence of players like Bongi Manambi, Oxenche, I believe, was also not there, and also Estereza that didn't make the field this time around. Of course, Ibn Etzebet still being off for his 12-week ban from last year against Wales, but him stepping into the coaching box as well, supporting JP Peterson and his teammates. So yeah, but still, there's a lot of talent, a lot of brilliant talent within the Sharks lineup. Also, just a little quick thing about Rassie Erasmus releasing the box squad this last weekend, or this past week, and we're seeing 11 previously uncapped players making their first debut appearance for the Springboks in the alignment camp, which is really exciting for them, and I really congratulate them from the bottom of my heart. I mean, guys like Ashim Peed are really deserving it, honestly. Really happy to see the return of Frans Malherbe in the green and gold jersey again, and a lot of the good old veterans making a comeback within the Springboks team, but some of these really talented newcomers that has been showing us a lot of promise on the field and for their respective club rugbies. So I'm really holding thumbs for these young lads. We really need new and fresh talent within the Springboks. Obviously, there are quite a few Springboks that are going to be phased out over the next couple of years as they to use one of the other sort of rugby journalists' turn of phrase. They are no longer spring chickens. Getting on in years, so a lot of these players, Bongi Mbanambi already seeing the 31st year for himself, as Peter Steph-Toy as well, Makazuluma Pipi already 35. Cheslin Colby also, I think he's 32 years old. So a lot of these Springbok veterans are going to eventually turn in their togs and retire from the game, which is going to be sad, but this is the way life goes, so definitely Rassie Erasmus getting a lot of these new talent, 11 previous on-cap players in to getting them ready to start getting them attuned to how everything works within the Boks team, and getting them ready for the future of the Springbok games that they're going to be facing. So really holding thumbs for them as well, and hoping to see a lot of them in this green and gold jersey over this next coming year, because obviously the Springboks lineup is starting, I think, in June. So there's something really to look forward to there. And but like I said, that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Give me your comments in the comments field below if you agree with any of the points that I've raised, any of the if you've got any ideas for how England could maybe make a bit of improvement, and what the Stormers and the Sharks will need to watch out for this coming game in the facing their respective teams within the URC. And then please, guys, just smash that like and subscribe buttons, to really help out this channel if you like the content that I am creating. And please get your friends and family in to come and watch as well if they are rugby supporters and rugby fans. But looking forward to see you guys in the next video, and please take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Peace out.
Rixa was sent to the sin bin. They've got another opportunity here. A little variation move. Fenta peeling around the front of that line out.
On the line! On the line!
A watchful defence.
Backwards. No, backwards. Stay on.
Brought him down a metre short. And persist with the pick and go tactic here, the Lions. Down a man in the midfield. Fenta again.
Shoot! Leave it! Shoot!
Some desperate tackles coming in here. Morne van der Berg looking for an opportunity for himself.
Tackle, leave him now.
Tackle made, ball not over the line, so can't be held up. Then the try is awarded. Well, down to 14, but they have their third try of the game. And it is the debutant, Siba Mahashe. What a moment for him.
It's standing for the young man. But his position was key. The way that he sort of read on top of that, stayed on it. Siba Mahashe